Live streaming is on.
So I wanted to show some examples uh, of a vortex real quick if you want to see.
Yeah, I was looking your screen.
I mean,
Okay.
obviously these aren't like real conscious vortexes, but it definitely goes into what and how messy a vortex is and how you can see all the different spiraling, how everything interconnects and just basically overlays on itself.
Yeah.
In the trajectories, you can see the trajectories and as they evolve and change, and move around. I like this one too. It's a little bit more, and this is what's actually going on. I mean, this is actuality, as opposed to simplifying everything into something that doesn't actually exist. This one's
I,
nice
I
because it actually shows the entire orb of the sun, that protects us from all the galactic radiation, which is kind of cool. And like where it is in the galaxy, and that the entire sun itself spirals as well on the bigger level, like the whole thing is spiraling as well. And the
yeah.
same is true with our galaxy. Our galaxy is spiraling. Everything is spiraling in vortices. So if we
Yeah.
build these vortice trajectories, it should all come into alignment and be almost effortless.
Yeah, very cool. Should definitely schedule as soon as possible.
Yeah, and the key that I'm already working with, the modeling that I've been experimenting with and practicing, is that it's all about minimizing to the smallest amount and the minimal amount of vortices possible. Like not vortices, the minimum amount of trajectories possible. Like the less trajectories you have, the better. And then you have all the sub trajectories and the segments of those trajectories. So, anyways, we'll go through it. Let's go under the. You ready, Joyce?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. To start with, I just want to say a bit of my personal background. Like, I start with how did I say? Well, I start with when 2010 when I resigned from the work and really decided on focusing on my kids. Because I had a question before in the work that why am I spending the whole day in the work, and then and having kids, and what's the purpose to leave them behind, and then, you know,
Yeah.
so so I told myself that I should be giving my time to them because what's the purpose of having kids if you don't have if you're not with them anyway, and you cannot teach them, you know, and other people's taking care of them while you're at home. So that made me, open my mind. So from then on, I decided to 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 be out of Dubai and just come here in Egypt, and so we can focus here. And anyway, I was already aware that there will be work online. So I said, "You can just look for work online." But then when I was working on, I was looking for works online. At first, there were scams, And then finally, I found Jay. Okay, so that's the first, uh, what you call this, not scam one.
Hmm.
So yeah. So and then the reason why I went out of the of FQN, but I like it very much. Okay, working with FQN before, and the reason why, because first my mother was, as I said in my interview, my mother was like, very sick, so I had to be with her and take care of her. And then, but and also one more thing, it was so toxic that time. So Jay knows about it, and for me, the most important is to be working peacefully. You're happy with your job, your work, your environment, so you can produce, quality quality work. So that's very important, to be working peacefully and in harmony with your coworkers. So so that's it. My what's that? My career was really, I wanted to be in music. So it's very contradictory. Ano what's that? Contradictory. Is it correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, to what I got in college, which is accounting. So I don't know how I got into, but all things went to that. I don't know. Maybe God wants me to take it, because I did everything. I took tests to get into music school, but I didn't reach all their scores. Like, it is a quota course. So it's a 5 year course, like engineering and everything.
Hmm.
So I didn't reach the quota course, like 90, but I got only 80, something like that. So everything went to the, what's that called? Leads to getting me going to the accounting course. So I don't know. So maybe because I am here now, and I can use it here. Maybe I don't know. And also my work before, I use it also in my admin work before. So maybe, so it's God's plan, or I don't know. All things, I know that all things has a reason. So now I am
Yeah.
now in the work, and also, so when I was young, also I wanted to, it's very simple. My dream is to go to heaven, you know. So I found, yeah, very simple, very simple. But
Very
along
nice.
the way,
Ah,
I don't
it's very
know, there
nice.
was, yeah, and no, I found my peace. I found my peace in when I was working in Taiwan. So 2011. So from then on, I supported this church. Every time I earn something, I give them 10%. Since 2011 until now, 10% of my earning every time I got something from anywhere, I give the 10%. So I'm very, very at peace. I'm supporting their mission, their what you call this, their programs, supporting the sick, the needy, whatever. So that's it. Then what else? Now in the work, what I'm concerned about right now is first and foremost my computer. So anytime, maybe if I cut here, you know what I mean. Okay, if I cut suddenly, then there's a problem with my computer. So that's my first priority now in the work. So and also my priority in personal life, I think, to be able to see my family in Philippines, because since pandemic, they were not able to come here to Egypt. So before we were seeing each other, like maybe every year. So that's my goal for now. And also for the responsible organizing, I wanna tell something that um, this is new to me. That I have to, I understand what Jay is saying. His purpose is that to be able that anybody can work on it. So, for example, I will be out. For example, only that we were not here anymore. So somebody will can just look at the notes and see the responsibility organizing and follow through. I understand that, but I don't know. But I'm more into working, than just and than documenting things. So that's why maybe
But that would be the scheduling and the collaborating and actually working together as opposed to just like one of the things that I can't stand is just like, oh yeah, here's the update on Discord and like that's it. Like it's just like if it's a priority, it has to be more than just a Discord message. Like it needs to be a schedule and a collaboration where you're working together. If you don't
yeah,
schedule it, like
yeah.
Joyce
Yeah,
said,
I mean, the
at all.
biggest problem is that it's a management problem because I think everybody that joins a new organization or starts a new job gets training, right? Gets training, gets onboarded, gets training. But since we are few and we as we say we don't force anybody to work, so it's up to you to make it a priority to get your training and to understand what's going on and everything. So that's what I think
It's not like we
we
don't do
should.
any training. I mean, we spend dozens and dozens and dozens of hours training during main sessions in sessions and when people want to prioritize it and they ask questions. I mean, the idea that basically people aren't being trained every day, every week on something is just not true. It just takes time to learn all the different components.
No, I agree. I mean, it's not that we are not doing training; it's that we're not doing training as we know it's supposed to happen. People don't then don't, maybe don't understand that what's going on. It's a training. So I don't know. I mean,
Um,
the problem is that uh, people are maybe waiting around for things to happen or for work to get assigned to them instead of understanding that they should get interested and curious on the various priorities and then say, okay, I want to do that. I want to help in that. How can I help? But I mean, at the base, I mean, I think that the thing that we said, if we implement that managing system with the new deadlines and we go back in focusing in everybody having a clear one or more managing priorities, it's going to be very helpful. And yeah, but we definitely need to a bit slow down on that, or we might have to slow down on that.
no, don't get me wrong, Jay. I know what you mean. Just that I'm not used to doing it yet, maybe. So I must really get used to doing it. You know. So I must from the past month, we've been busy, focusing on things, and then we want to finish things and then writing them. That's my feeling. That's what I feel. So, but now I know what you mean. I understand. So it's maybe it's on my side that I don't get to sit down and because it's really like I just want to work like that, and then not more on documentation. So
Well,
that's
like if you could explain more about the documentation side of it. I mean, the way I see documentation is that it's just like if you do a bunch of work and none of it's documented, like did you actually do any work? right? If you don't actually create something that can be shared, right? Especially when we're all
Mhm.
virtual. And it's like when we're looking at all of our linear documentation, it's like just documenting the trajectory, right? It's just like, here's this meeting notes, here's the next meeting notes, you link all the meeting notes. It's like, it's just the trajectory of information. It's not like the documentation of itself is not the focus. In fact, I don't think we even have anyone working on any documentation responsibilities. Like documentation responsibilities are very, very specific and have very specific outcomes and responsibility deliverables. So if you could explain more about what you mean by that you don't want to work on documentation.
What I mean, Jay, I don't. I did not say that I did not want to work, but um, it's not. It's new to me that I have to step by step write. I'm the one who's writing. I know there are step. I cannot explain. I know there are step by step in every work. Okay, like when I'm like when I am training from other companies, there are like steps to do like that. I don't know.
What's the very
I'm just
first
not
part of?
into. Yeah.
Oh, keep going. You can keep going.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying.
Yes, yes. Maybe I'm just not into details. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Step,
So
step one or
so a
step
couple
two
a
or
couple things here. A couple things here. The first one is that let's just get focused, right, and talk about something real. So like the responsibility organizing for the support alliance, right? So we have support alliance responsibility organizing on I don't know, we don't do we even have a name for the responsibility yet? Like
support alliance responsibility organizing. I separated also the life support
yeah, but that's not a
responsibility.
responsibility. That's the program, right? The support alliance is a program, right? So this is we're just the vocabulary is missing here. We're not communicating. So there has to be a specific responsibility. For example, I mean, usually we use the little thing here, right? I don't know what is the little thing. There it is. So this is how we identify a responsibility, and in this case, the responsibility might be,
Yeah.
uh, updating the list of potential people to join the support alliance, right? And then this would be called follow up, right? So you could even call it follow up, right? And then the sub responsibility is that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's the responsibility. The responsibility is not support alliance, right? The
Also, you mean, Jay,
responsibility is
my
the
question.
follow up for updating the list of potential people to join the support alliance. That's the responsibility is the follow up.
So you mean to say, Jay, for this responsibility, follow up, updating. So this is one thing that I will make a responsibility organizing for.
Exactly.
So
Every responsibility has organizing, but as being a manager, there could be 5, 10, even 20 responsibilities under your management position.
mm-mm.
Like, have you done any of the management organizing? I mean, the management training?
Management training.
Yeah. Are you doing any training at all? Like, are you going through the training process for the management training and the general training or the VA training or any training or
No,
videos? You're
no.
not doing any training at all.
Mm-mm.
What,
So where is it?
what does that mean, Alberto?
Where is the
Well,
training?
I don't know. I mean, we just set up your main doc, right? In your main doc, we linked some very important links that there. Those links are the basic links. They're intended for you to.
Alexa, stop.
Okay, okay. So maybe I just did not focus on that.
Yeah, from the main doc you can see the all the basic that you need to learn to work, right? That's what's.
Can you link your work tracking hours spreadsheet, please?
Okay, yes, okay.
I can link it
So
here.
while
I have it.
while you're linking that, my question is, what is the most important thing about a responsibility? be at the top of the responsibility organizing chain, right? So when you learn about
Yeah.
responsibility organizing, what is the number one top thing
The
about?
name,
No,
the goal.
the goal. Yes, right. So the name is just to categorize what you're talking about for vocabulary purposes. The name can change, and the name doesn't really matter. It's like we could call it. We can give it a number, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what the name is. The what it matters is the goal,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the purpose of a responsibility is first and foremost to document a goal,
Ah, okay, okay.
right? And if you don't know what your goal is, you're never going to accomplish anything because you don't have a goal. So the idea of the steps and documenting the steps of the responsibility and how to accomplish the goal, right,
Mm-hmm.
is only a snapshot. Because what might work today, because we're living in a vortex and not a simple non-dynamic universe, right? Everything's always changing. So therefore, tomorrow or 6 months from now or 6 years from now, the same steps to accomplish the goal may not work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's responsibility organizing, right? And when you are assigned a responsibility, you are assigned the goal to be accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's a responsibility, because it's your responsibility to accomplish the goal. I don't care how you accomplish that goal,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you can accomplish the goal, you just accomplish the goal. And then you achieve the responsibility and then it's done, right? So the thing about the steps is that you can't read responsibility organizing and say like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what the step is. Oh, this step doesn't work anymore. Therefore, I don't have to do anything. That's not taking responsibility. That's being assigned a task. When you have a task, it means you don't have responsibility and you don't care whether anything gets achieved. Right? We don't assign tasks because we don't have time to assign tasks. Like if you don't want to take responsibility, you are not in the right place to be working with FCAN Community Network. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you take on the responsibility to achieve the goal, however you want to achieve that goal. The steps are there to help you achieve that goal so that it's successful, right? But the steps can always change depending on the dynamic, ever-changing environment and the platforms we're using or whatever needs to be achieved, because what works today doesn't always work tomorrow or 6 years from now, right? So as long as you understand the goal, you should be able to achieve the outcome.
Okay.
Right? It all starts with the goal,
Okay.
right? And then the other thing to understand about responsibly organizing and everything we do in FCAN Community Network is that it's not about you.
Yes.
Because if all you're doing is focusing on yourself and your own work, you're missing the entire point. Like everything that I'm putting and dedicating my life to at this point is not even the current society. I'm basically, borderline gave up on the current society. I think we should still ask for money. We should still do fundraising. We should still try to pull everything together and transform the world. I think it's possible, but I don't think it's necessary. I think it's perfectly fine to document everything and present it on a platter for future generations who might actually care and do something with it, right? So it has nothing to do with me, it has nothing to do with you, it has nothing to do with any of us. It's about presenting potentially important knowledge and information for future generations so that they can actually live in a world where billions of people aren't potentially dying in a few decades, right? So it's like, in trillions of animals, right? And all the extinctions and the whole systems that are falling apart and decaying. And it's not just the fact that you have all this death and horrible things potentially happening in the future. It's that it affects our quality of life now. We are losing a quality of life on a day-to-day basis, and missing so much opportunity to thrive in our current society, right? Where we should be much more better off, right? But anyways, the point that I'm trying to make clear is that it can't be about you. If it is about you, you're missing the point. The reason why we document the responsibility is nothing to do about you. It has to do about the next person that we're training who comes after us.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, Jay. I will do my responsibility organizing. I know now. I it's clear.
It's not clear, and it should
It's
be
not
clear.
clear because if I
Like
can
that is
jump
the
in,
mistake that everybody falls into over and over and over again, where they try to pretend like everything's fine because you want this image of yourself looking good to the team. It doesn't matter, right? And I know that sounds really, really harsh, but it's like This is why we fail over and over and over again, because everybody says, oh, I did the work. Oh, everything's completed. Oh, the work is perfect. Oh, very, very good. Everything's good. It's not good, and that's okay. It is okay for you to have no idea what you're doing. What's not
Mhm.
okay is to pretend that you do know, think that you know what you're doing. Alberto, are you going to say something too?
Yeah, I want to jump because you see, after all that Jay said, you answer with saying, "Okay, I will do the responsibility organizing." What you should have said is, "Okay, I will understand exactly what the goal is," and that's why the responsibility organizing. It's one of the biggest things that I've seen that it's people don't understand for a while is that the responsibility organizing is never ever the focus of work, right? The responsibility organizing is part of any work that you're doing. That's why we have one of the most important policies that we have is that every time that you're doing work, you need to have your responsibility organizing open. If this work that you're doing is the first time that it's happening, you obviously need to have clear what the goal is of the process, right? The process. Then you create the responsibility organizing. And when you have it open, the first time is going to be blank. So we know that there is some standard responsibilities that each process starts with, which is the setup. So you start with the setup. And while you do the setup, you create, you update the responsibility organizing so that you say, okay, so next time if Moth is gonna do this process, Moth is gonna work on this process. He will take the responsibility organizing and he will have the setup already the steps to follow in order to accomplish the goal of the setup. And he is gonna be his job to have the responsibility organizing open. And if he sees that the steps are different, something changed, he needs to update. So it's very important. That's why what I really want to, and I'm gonna stress this, that we all start learning these basics of the general work organizing, right? So because I in the first place was arrogant in pretending that all right, I already knew how, I already know, it's been 1 year I've been working here, and so I just got back to old habits, right, in doing work, the old habits with the 1099s, and it was a complete failure because we did the work without any clear process laid out, without any clear goals, without any clear responsibilities that we were working with, just working on having these forms filled. And it has been terrible. It has been terrible. So that's what I really want the team, everybody to really uh, get on the same page, right? So you have your main doc, not because you just it's just a check in a box. You have your main doc because that's where you go. That's the first place you go that opens you all the doors to all the rest. From there, you have some some very important. That's the first links, the first documents that you, as a new hire, are expected to go look into, right? Which is the onboarding steps, the training, the I don't remember now exactly, but there is some also FQN community. But there is it's few links that open you the doors to everything, right? When you jump into a new organization, you want to learn about it, you want to understand how it works. And what I feel is that here everybody is just relying on Jay or Alberto, and I'm relying on Jay as well. Tell them what how to do and what to do, and in this way we are moving forward in a very disorganized way, in a very confused way, and we do one step forward, three back. Uh, so we really need to listen closely of right. And so you have now this responsibility, right? and which is the invitee list, for example. That's something that's coming up. So you don't, the way that you approach it is you don't create a responsibility organizing. You do the work, and while you do the work, you create the responsibility organizing. So when you do, when you check in with Jay to update him on the work, you do, this is the work that they did. And obviously, if you want, I also updated the responsibility organizing for you to look at something like this. But the responsibility organizing is never ever the focus of any work. The responsibility organizing is a consequence of the work, uh, based on our working model uh, of our educational system.
Yeah. So I gotta jump in here for a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
So I need to get going.
Okay.
I want to say something before I go.
Yeah.
I also would encourage you, Alberto, Joyce, and if Moth is still here, to continue and even try to get started with Moth. I do want to mention the reason why Moth we put you last is because we've been waiting like 6 months to have the session. I am so glad we're having the session. I think this was like so far and above and beyond late on this. We need to be doing more personnel support. We need to be doing more life support. I think this is really, really good. So, Moth, if you don't get a chance to go today, or at least with me, we can prioritize you for 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks is not that long from now, right? Whereas 6 months was a really long time ago since we had our last life support session. Anyways, going back to you, Joyce,
Yeah.
the bottom line here is that you need to know the goal, right? Like if you can't tell me the goal 10 times over really, really fast because you have it so ingrained in your system because you've been working on this for months now, for me, it's just jaw dropping, like, oh my God, like unbelievable. To not even have clarity on the goal is just like overwhelmingly like saddening and like, oh my God, right? It's just terrible. And it's just like you can't move forward on anything until you have perfect clarity on that. And it's like every time this comes up, I have to hold myself back from telling you. Because that's my urge, right? It's like, oh, I'm just going to tell her what to do. Oh, I'm going to tell you the goal. I'm going to tell you this, and I'm just not going to do it because I have to force you to ask the question, right? Every single time you interact with me, 10, 20 different questions go through my head and all these different things that I need to tell you. And I have to hold it all back because I have to force you to ask the question. Because if you refuse to ask the question, there is no way you're going to do the work. Because I have literally trained and worked with hundreds of people. And when they come and you tell them, oh, here's the goal. And you tell them again, oh, here's the goal. Oh, by the way, you didn't get the preview. This is the goal. And then you tell them over and over and over again. You can train them 20 times and they don't care. They don't want to know. And I find that the only people who actually do the work are the people who ask the questions. And they come and they step up and they take on the responsibilities and they ask the questions and they want to do the work and then it gets done. It's that simple. And then when you tell people to do the work and you force it on them and you tell them to go over and over and over again, you train them over and over again, you can spend dozens of hours, they're never going to do the work because they just don't care. You have to wait for someone to step up, ask the questions, get involved, and actually want to do the work, right? And obviously with you, we have some other problems, including, obviously you don't understand the model and the training and the responsibility organizing training. We need to make the whole onboarding and training model like a whole, trajectory of different, opportunities and options. Like everyone's experience of onboarding and training should be different under our new trajectory model. Like our trajectory model basically will like, mix it all up and allow it to be customized by each individual so they can basically choose their trainings as they go along. And we have that all ready for you, and you just need access to them, and it should be in your main doc already. And you should just click on the trainings link, and it should have all the list of all the basic responsibilities, including the responsibly organizing trainings, right? Anyways, the goal should be very, very clear, and I have to go right now, so, but you should be able to say the goal in, less than 3 seconds, Anyway, with that said, I will give the session a 7. I feel like this was an excellent session because we It just shows how important it is to really give time to each individual to address their needs. Yes. I think we made a lot
Great.
of progress today.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's an important session to let out, what you really feel, what's going on in your mind. You know.
Cool. So I'm gonna get going. I will leave the broadcast going till it stops in a little bit for now. But if you guys want to continue, I would highly encourage it. But I don't know if you can. You can at least finish with Joyce. Yeah.
Uh, I'm available. Moth, are you there? I think it would be good.
I, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
here
Yes,
as
yes,
well.
I'm
Hi,
here.
Alberto.
Hi, Mamoon. Yeah, let's keep
Hi,
going.
Mama.
Mamoon is there as
Yeah,
well.
hi.
Yeah.
Jay, wait. Does it mean
Jay,
Jay? Are you still there?
no, he left.
Ah,
He
he
left.
left. Okay.
He
Okay, so
checked out.
let's
No,
continue.
he left. Yeah. So
Uh,
let's finish with Joyce. Then we can take a 5 minute break. We can have Mamoon check in real quick, and then we jump into Moth.
okay.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, to end
So
my yeah, to end
so
my
all right. So to go into some concrete things. I mean, the goal for this responsibility. Do you know it or not? This support
one
alliance responsibility
land
organization.
support. Yeah, first to know the
For
list.
44. Do you know the goal?
Yeah, first to know the list of the invitees.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's follow up. It's updating the list, so you should probably have
Yes, yes.
already the.
Mhm.
So I don't know, but I mean, the point is ask questions until you don't understand exactly the goal, right? So also, Joyce, I'm going to add to your main doc a specific link that gives you the training, or I think it's the is the responsibility organizing on how to create responsibilities organizing, right? So
Okay.
yeah, so I'm gonna put you these two links inside your main doc.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm gonna import on general links. I'm gonna put it here in the end. One is this, and the other one. So go check them out. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So
You already put there, huh?
yeah, they're there under important general links. The last two. The last two, they explain you how to create. This is the responsibility organizing for doing the responsibility organizing, basically. Okay.
Is this a video? No.
I don't
It's
know
not
if
a
there
video.
is. I don't know if there's some videos, but I mean there is
Okay,
some.
I just
For example, if you go into the video training doc for new workers, there is some good videos on the work organizing that I suggest you watch, and I suggest that you schedule to watch these videos. Okay, because
okay.
the way that the training is supposed to happen is that obviously we are a few people, we have a lot of priorities and everything, so we encourage people to just do the training in any way possible, right? But the point is that uh, you should train with in a session with somebody, and then at the end of the video or at the end of the segment, you just ask questions one to the others to understand that you understood the training, and then you get verification from your supervisor or from Jay in this case, right? All right. So this said, I mean, this is what I'm gonna be focusing on. For me, it's become a top priority to just focus on the onboarding, the worker criteria,
Yeah, I think so.
and the training, because we need to all be on the same page, right? So you, me,
Everybody.
us, Ate, Mamun, Moth, we all need to be on the same page.
Yes. And everybody should know how to do the responsibility organizing, because I saw all the docs is you,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, the responsibility organizing, it doesn't need to be perfect, but you can look
Yes, I
at the,
know.
like the payroll's responsibility organizing. I mean, the responsibility organizing has some very, uh, I can write here, some very specific things, right? Okay, so the work organizing here on line 39, right? The work organizing is the following, right? So we have systems, okay, systems. I mean, we have the model, but so we have models, then we have systems, then we have subsystems, right? Then we have processes, right? Then we have responsibilities, and then we have steps and tasks. Okay.
Okay, can you tell what model is? Like
Yeah.
for example, what's your example for model, and then the
The
system?
model is what Jay was just saying. Now, today we are in a web network model.
Okay, okay.
We want to move to this new vortex model, but I mean the overall model, how we operate in the model is they are based on three components, right? The economic component, the educational component, and the governance component, right? So these are the components of the models, right? So the economic component is the output, no, the work. The educational component is how we do the work, right? How this work happens, and the governance is how we make decisions, right? How decisions happen. So this said, what you need to be focusing on is that first there is the process, okay? Like for example, let's take the HR monthly budget process, okay? We have the HR monthly budget process, HR monthly budget. Okay, everybody is assigned to work on budget and payrolls. All right, so the HR monthly budget is the process. So the goal obviously is easy, right? So the goal is to what is the goal? The goal is to
The goal is to do the budget for the month.
exactly to have a budget, to have an approved, to have an approved budget, HR budget for the upcoming month, right?
You know, Alberto,
Yeah,
what happened is I did not understand that the first thing is to know the goal.
yeah, I know, because this
That's
is
the
our fault
basic.
that we are
That's
not
the
doing the training and the onboarding.
yeah.
But
That's
so
the
now that we
basic.
yeah, so now that we understand.
Mm-mm.
So data methodology. So you have the goal, and then you have a list of responsibilities. Okay, a list of responsibilities. The first responsibility of each process is the setup. Always responsibility zero is the setup, right? The setup of the process. Mhm. Then then you have, so let's go back. So what's really it's important is, I mean, the process is important to understand which process you're working on, but what's it's really important is the responsibility. Because when you work, the first thing, the focus that we put in our body team notes, right? The first thing that we put in the topics is the focus, and the focus should always be a name of responsibility, right? Or at least the process, but it should be the responsibility, right? So the responsibility has always some. So let's say responsibility is zero, no? Setup of HR monthly process. This is the responsibility zero for each process. Each process starts with a setup. We start with everything starts with the setup. Our session starts with the setup, right? The focus topic is the setup. So every responsibility, okay, so it's the name of the responsibility. Then you have the goal, as we just said, right? Then you can or you cannot have. It's not really important, but I'll leave the description. Then you can have important links, right? That gives you brother to the system or whatever you want to link. All right. Then you have the estimated time. All right. And then you have the steps. And there is always the first step for each responsibility is always step 0. The how it's called the step 0. Of step 0 is the setup of the responsibility. All right. And then you have inside this setup, inside the step, you have very specific tasks, right? So setup of the responsibility, task, gather all the following files, files that you will need to accomplish the process, right? So this is how responsibility. This is like a manual that you create while you do the work, while you're accomplishing the goal, right? You have a clear goal in mind. If there is already a responsibility for most of the work, great. You follow it, you improve it, you make it better. But if there is not, you just know the goal, you do the work to accomplish the goal, and while you do the work, you edit the responsibility organizing. So you start with the goal, then you want to write the description, and then you write, okay, what am I going to do now? The first step then I'm going to set up the responsibility. Okay, what do I need to accomplish this? Okay, I need this link, I need this access to this bank account, I need this, that, I need to understand this, that. All right, this is the setup of the responsibility. Then you go, what's the second step? Okay, the second step is to understand who is going to work on that. What is the timeline? What is the deadline? What is all these things, right? And you keep on going, and you create tasks on how you understand, and each step has its own goal. Everything has its own goal. Each one of these has its own goal, right? So this is the work organizing. There is some good training videos that you can watch.
Okay.
Right, but responsibility organizing is never the
work.
yeah. But we need to go back to training and onboarding. I'm going to be focusing on that a lot.
Yeah.
So to close, I want to close on something. So that's very pertinent to life support. So if you are having problem with the computer,
Yes.
you can ask an advance to buy a computer. You can ask FQN to buy a computer that you can use, like Ate did. Okay, we can help you with that, right? Because I'm sure that you can find some good computers for $400, right? And then you so that we can support you. If you need a new computer, don't we can try to help you on that, right?
Yeah, I need a computer.
I am back here.
Yeah.
Two things. One is that for the computer, we also can cover the costs of renting a computer or accessing a computer cafe, like an internet cafe or something like that, if you need access to a computer, right?
Yeah.
So those are all options, and of course, it's a matter of addressing and understanding the situation and the options, and then figuring that out.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then
But
the other thing I'm going to mention is just in terms of the responsibility organizing, like the very first, before the first step, the pre-zero, like the 0, is you always ask for the link to the existing responsibility organizing and information. That's always the first step. So you never assume that there's not responsibility organizing. You always ask.
Yeah. That's exactly the first thing you do when you step up to take on a responsibility. You ask two questions. First, the name of the responsibility, and then the link to the responsibility organizer. And now also, obviously, the goal. But the goal is also the process. Like everything has a goal. Each process has a goal. Each responsibility has a goal. Each step has a goal. So the only the tasks don't really have a goal. Tasks are just do this, go into it, do
And a
this. Done.
task can also have a goal.
Yeah,
But the point here is that you gotta get organized, and it starts by asking questions and asking for the links and making sure all of the links that you need are organized. And then also you want to you know, get it organized for the next person so that it's easier for the next person than it was for you.
yeah. Exactly. You're documenting your work basically. You're documenting what you're doing, what steps you're taking and tasks are doing
Oh, and
to
then for
accomplish
the
the goal.
it's important to understand that a manager does the managing organizing as well. So you have basically, you know, responsibilities, right? And then responsibilities go into processes, but then you also have managers and coordinators. So managers oversee multiple processes or responsibilities, or possibly even multiple systems. So it just depends on what the manager is overseeing. And so when you're organizing your manager position, you're documenting all of the specific responsibilities that you need to be doing. But if you don't have a specific responsibility, you're not doing work. You need to have a specific responsibility that specifically can be named, right? Because if you can't name the responsibility, what are you working on, right? And you can't communicate to anyone else what you're doing. Does that make sense? Like the vocabulary term itself is the only way we could even talk about the work. Like
Yeah,
without vocabulary that names the actual work, we don't have no idea what you're doing or what you're even talking about.
exactly. Yeah. When we say our core value is professionalism, we just we, at the moment we're just saying it because it sounds cool, but we need to make it happen. We need to when we put it out there and we say that we're professional, we are professional because we work in this way, right? So it's not an option to not work this way. If you don't want to do this work this way, uh, I mean that's what and we want to create. And all of this is that we want to create because what is our to, to make it in perspective to other broader goal, right? The broader goal is that one day FQN will have the cryptocurrencies that we are creating that are linked and embedded to our value tracking. Why do we track the hours? Why do we track all this? We track it because this is the value that it's at the base of the mining of our cryptocurrency, right? So we can mine tokens and create cryptocurrencies because they're based on human time that's valued. And so the point is that we want to create a model that uh, every every person in the world can come and work on a task on a very easy in 5 minutes they can get trained. Okay, here's what you need to do. Here's the task. They work on the task for 1.5 hours. They get our cryptocurrency that they can go on the market and sell or keep, and the price will go up. And so to create an accessible uh, e- source of income for everybody in the world. That everybody in the world comes, do a couple of tasks, do something, and get an income, so that we basically we want to we want to how do you say to delete the barriers of today's societies, that in order to do professional work you need to have a bunch of degrees and you need to be come from this university or from this background or from this. No, Everybody in the world should be able to do professional work and get paid to do it and get paid well, because our tokens, our cryptos will be so successful that you get the cryptos and then you sell them. And but in order to do that, we are creating all of this. We need to create model systems that anybody in the world can come. I mean, today the biggest barrier is English, right? But this is something that we already know that needs to be changed. So everybody in the world will come, can find the work in their language and work a couple of hours, or come to our meet session a couple of hours and get and make an income, right?
Okay, my question.
Can you go next? Or Joyce is done?
Hello, Mamu. What?
Mamon
I don't
is
know.
asking if he
Moth,
can
is
go.
that Moth there? Mhm.
Mamon is here also.
Yeah, we need to take the break still, guys. So I don't know, Joyce, if you have ever any other questions or anything else.
Yeah, I have a question. What is the next step to ask for support for the computer?
So
Uh,
the first step would be to understanding the situation and then obviously making a proposal. So like let's say you proposed oh, buy me a brand new computer, right? The first question would be what is the situation, right? So you can technically skip over the situation part and make a proposal, but then obviously I would be voting no on it until I understand the situation and all the background information
and the options.
in the options, right? So you could just focus instead of making a proposal for brand new computer, why don't you just go through the process, which would start with explaining the situation, explaining what the options are. I think you've mentioned you actually have multiple computers. It's just a matter of like, how do they work and what is the functionality and all that kind of stuff. So we'd want to look at all the options for each computer and then consider, renting and or, you know, cafes, internet cafes and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah, or in advance to cover repair costs. I don't know, whatever.
Repair costs, exactly. Yes, all of that options. So if I was you, I would just document the situation and all the different options that you can think of, and then we can think of the other options that you didn't include. I think there's at least like what 5, 6, 7, 8 options at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's many options to get access to a computer for sure.
Well, especially since you already have two, it's just a matter of understanding if they are functional or not, getting them fixed, and or buying a new one, and or renting one, and or getting access to one somewhere else. So I think there's just a lot of different options.
Okay, so I'll put in Discord.
Well,
Okay.
I would actually make a spreadsheet for it because it sounds pretty complicated. But yeah, you can just put it in Discord if you want, and we'll copy and paste it into some notes or something somewhere.
Okay, I'll just make a spreadsheet. Okay.
Yeah, but it sounds like it's going to be more than just a single message.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you want to start looking at estimates and costs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So, anything else, Joyce, or let's
Oh,
take
that's
the
it.
break and then Mamoon can check in and we can move to Moth. Anyone
Yes.
wants to check out?
Well, again, I
No.
need to go because dinner's like almost on the table, but I'll try to leave my computer on and come back if I can, or at least check in as much as we can. And if Moth or Mamoon, if we don't get to you, like, don't worry too much. I mean, we've been literally waiting months and months and months to get our life support sessions back going, and so in 2 weeks we'll have another one. So
Yeah, I would like to go to try to get to them. It's important.
cool.
All right. So 5-minute break, guys.
5 minutes
Okay.
good. Great. Okay.